This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. It is now 7 o'clock on April 27th, Monday. This meeting, Conservation Commission will now convene. If we're going to go out of order a little bit, we're going to try to knock out a couple of the quick ones before we get into the more heavy-duty ones. So first up, I'm going to call request for determination of applicability for 26-12 Holland Glen Conservation for Kestrel Land Trust for parking lot improvements.
I don't think he's gonna be here till later.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. No. Go back here.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is request for determination of applicability for 43 Copac for tree removal.
You guys can come on up and sit with us if you want to.
Maybe they don't want to sit in the hot seat.
Yeah, if you want to. I apologize, I didn't make copies. Yeah.
Okay. If you have tell us what you want to do.
I'm going to tell you that we have some very large trees that apparently Stephanie came up and concluded.
Would you introduce yourself?
I absolutely will. I'm Michelle Riviere. This is my brother David Mayhew and my sister Renee Sousa. We are the co-owners of the property at 43 Copac Avenue.
Wonderful, thank
All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, I called upon Stephanie and Stephanie came up to the lot. And I showed her some trees that are within, I think, the 100-foot buffer of a stream. But there's some very, very, very large pine trees up there that are so huge and have broken off on two of the tops. One has fallen to the house that we are extremely concerned with people's safety. So we would like to remove those very large pine trees. There are 4 of those, and one poplar close to the house that's pretty much gone, it's dead. And one other possible tree there, I think it's a maple type tree. So that's basically the gist of it.
You don't know exactly which, are they all within the 100 foot?
That, Stephanie came up that day to do some measuring.
Yeah. So, how many pines total?
4, I believe. I have the photos of these 4 big trees, the 2 little ones that broke off and did.
Yeah, that's helpful,
We can
thank you.
circulate those down
Yeah.
there.
I counted more than 4, but they're kind of like doubles.
Yeah,
Double
the trees
massive,
kind
so
of,
you're-
yeah, they did a.
Yeah. So yes, I met her out there, I took a look at the pines, they are massive, massive, massive. There's especially 2 that are very close to the house that I would not argue with taking down for sure. Their poplar is very, very close to the house, I would not argue with taking that down, it's basically dead, like you said. There's just the one maple, sugar maple, I would say is healthy and not really a threat to the house.
I think my brother would agree with you that
Okay.
he loves
On
to
the
make,
corner.
we love all the trees,
Yeah.
okay, we're not
Yeah.
going to want to take these down, it's
Yeah.
just a safety
The pines are
situation.
definitely a safe.
And when you look at the photo, you will see the 2 middle trees, the 2 tops have snapped off.
Mhm.
And I didn't even take a picture of the tree that actually completely came down on the left side of the house and hit the corner and took out all the wires. I also have pictures of other
Yeah,
trees that
there
are
is
falling
wires.
down. I mean, let's face it, the storms that are coming through these days, these microbursts are incredible. We've been up there 50 years, we've never seen anything this bad in the last few years, so it's become a dangerous situation.
Those pines are scary for sure. And, she said the tree company will use a crane from their common driveway, so they don't have to make more disturbance that way.
So we have Ryan with us tonight, who is a certified arborist, and he gave you the breakdown of the fact that the equipment equipment that they're using, is not even touch the wetland area. The trees can be cut from a frame, lifted right out, and stumps up there.
Yes.
Minimal damage to anything, no damage really to that, nothing will be found to the ground. This was just,
Yep, we definitely don't allow stump grinding, but we like even more if we leave like a high.
That's
5-foot
fine.
stump for wildlife
yeah,
value
that's
too.
great.
Especially the closest tree is roughly 40 feet from the stream. I would say definitely, you could probably leave that one.
Is that a pine tree?
Yes.
I really would love it if you would consider.
No, I mean leave a high stump.
Oh,
I
yes,
don't
oh,
mean, yeah.
thank you,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely.
It's all coming back here.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And too closer to the house.
What's the tree line?
There must definitely
Who is?
their
See,
internet.
see, this didn't come out on the plan. I thought our impact was
Oh,
on
yeah.
Javish Brook.
Yeah.
Didn't even see these
No,
before.
that is not
I thought we were only worried about Javish Brook.
No, not Davis Brook. Contributor.
40 feet.
The closest one. The rest are like right at the 80, 90 feet away from the stream. Those are the concern.
You said the closest one was which?
40 feet, yeah. So that's the only one, but I totally understand. They're massive, massive.
Any questions, concerns from the board?
And the rest of the understory and vegetation is really nice and probably could do with some time getting taken out of there and will probably come right up really nice, so I'm not concerned. Big time.
So I make a motion that, issue a negative determination,
Yes, oh,
box 3.
yes. That there will be, yes, that there will be special conditions, which basically, like we already talked about, the stump grinding, keep the.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Total agreement.
they're pretty basic special conditions, but,
So instead of 6 trees, there'll be only 5.
yes,
Instead, poplar and
Yes.
4 trees.
yes, I would suggest leaving that
Yeah.
maple.
We like the maple too.
Yeah,
Well, we're going to. That's close. With the wetlands, those roots become.
and then you also could do a negative determination box 6, saying that it's not subject to further review. Oh, wait, we didn't have a second.
I'll second it. So we're doing a -3 and a -6.
Yeah, so we're still on -3.
Okay. I mean, I can amend it, right? Just to,
No, we're good.
No, you're good.
We're good. Do we have a motion and a second?
Yeah.
Is there any questions, concerns from the audience? Hearing none, any? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Good luck,
Thank you,
folks.
everybody. Thank you. Wish we didn't have to cut them. There's other trees.
Trees die.
They do, and they're almost probably 100 years old.
Especially the
Yeah,
ones that are
they're
very
over
close.
100, yes. My grandfather logged that lot. He missed
Yeah.
4 of them.
So it'll be nice. Yeah.
They were
No.
little, they were little.
It's good to keep a variety.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you guys. And I will, yeah, thank you.
No, it's all.
Next up, we're gonna. You still need a motion for that? Oh, thought we were all set.
Oh, I thought we needed just.
So, okay, just
three
make-
and six
just make
at the
one
same
more.
time?
It wasn't worded that.
Okay,
Good.
well, okay, I make a motion that we also press negative box 6.
Thank you.
second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Passes unanimously. Next up, could you in the meantime send the bills around? We can start passing them down. Next up, we're going to do a discussion item regarding Warren Wright.
Hi.
Thanks for giving me a couple minutes. As you know, we're moving ahead with the culvert replacement over Hot Brook on Warren Wright Road. I did submit some changes or some amendments to you a few weeks ago about reduction in permanent impacts. Now that we've dug in a little deeper into the utility pool, temporary relocation, there is a slight increase, 20% increase in temporary. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. Did submit some plans, I submitted a memo, I'm not sure what you got for information. But,
We got nothing.
oh, bring copies.
We got lots of other things, but we didn't get that one.
So there is a colorful plan. Sorry, it's not large scale. You guys do have large scale in the office, but basically these red areas are where there's going to be some increased temporary impacts while the poles are relocated. All of this information, the reduction in permanent impacts, because we were able to look at a different design from the Gabion baskets. So the reduction in permanent impacts and the increase in temporary has all been sent to National Heritage. They're assessing the changes. At that time, we also submitted our updated turtle plan. But I just wanted to bring this to your attention, get your feedback. If there's an approval that you would like to issue, that would be great. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm trying to answer them.
So on this map, the red stippling is where there has to be modification to,
Yeah, that's showing the temporary impacts while the poles are relocated to their temporary area.
yeah?
And that wasn't, because we had to then get into the real details with National Grid,
Yeah,
their design required some additional impacts. So the reduction in permanent that I was able to bring to you all a few weeks ago, I didn't come in front of you, it was just, that was something that was obvious because there's an increase in some temporary impacts. I wanted to bring that to your attention.
so, all right, so I'm a resident, actually I live on Federal Street. Is Warren Wright Road going to be closed?
Yes.
So no traffic at all on Warren Wright Road for how long?
I don't have the timeline yet. We're just getting ready for our bid package to be submitted. Construction is hopefully going to begin sometime this summer. It is a 2-year grant cycle. This was a $2.7 million grant from MVP, so there is expected to have a good amount of the construction done this season and then some additional work next year.
That's great. You haven't answered the question.
I don't have an answer for you.
Okay,
There is a lot of community outreach that will be conducted.
yeah,
So as soon as I have a road closure timeline and a definite detours,
you're going to put it in the newspaper?
it'll be spread widely.
Okay, great.
It will impact people's lives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've got farmers market set up and, so
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
I'll get you that answer as soon as I can.
That's fine.
No, like, is it a couple of months, 6 months, a year? Do you have any idea?
I don't have any idea. I'm not gonna say now. I could be wrong.
She's not going to answer the question.
Nope.
You brought us some hard copies?
I brought only what I had,
Okay.
because I had given you,
I have the lessening of the impact, the permanent impacts, but I don't have the temporary.
I think I got it in an email.
I sent it in the email, Stephanie.
Okay,
So this draft set and that
Okay.
are in that email, and I brought them hard copy. Those rolled up plans are this and that.
So you get this one back.
I can print another one if you want to keep it, keep it.
Oh, I can print them, I just thought you.
I brought them for the last
The
meeting.
first set, okay.
Yeah,
So we have those, I just
Yes.
thought we were gonna get a temporary too, but that's fine.
that's
Print
in,
them too.
that is in there.
Oh, it was already in. the
In that
plan
large
set.
scale set, there's a rolled up plan and a rolled up one of those.
Oh, okay,
So did we approve a plan previously?
yes, so
Yes.
this originally was 2024 when we approved the culvert project. So
Okay,
this is, I would say it's not even a big enough change to be a full amendment, in my opinion, I think.
David and I also looked at this a
okay,
couple weeks ago when we were good with it.
You originally approved 8,760 square feet of temporary impact, and this work is an additional 1,740 square feet.
But as you said, the permanent,
Plus the reduction in permanent impacts. That was, I don't have that in front of me, but that was significant. That was a 30% reduction in permanent impacts. So overall, there's definitely an improvement here.
Was the reduction, how was the reduction in permanent, how that happened?
Redesign of the gabion baskets.
So that, okay, you said that. Thank you.
And you said you worked with National Grid, obviously. and that was the-
Yes, National Grid is requiring this work. The engineers went back and forth, tried to make it not an increase, but National Grid is requiring the location, and it's, you know, to put down the swamp mats for the staging area.
is that what's causing the increase? Yeah, okay. So it's, yeah, okay, so it's temporary, it's not a permanent.
Yes.
Okay. So is there anything we need to do? We just
No.
not informed.
unless somebody feels like it really needs some attention, we're good. Just, they're informing us what's going on.
Yeah. I
Great.
think we need a motion to-
They already have, unless it's going to change the language in the order of conditions, no.
Were there swamp mats in the original order of conditions?
I don't know. I don't know if it would be necessary otherwise, than just moving whole.
Sarah would have written the order.
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
2024, I don't know that off the top
All
of
right.
my head.
So my engineers actually were calling this work exempt. They presented,
Why? Because it's related to the utility?
utility.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, both from the Wetlands Protection Act and the local bylaw mention exempt activities, so.
Well, we're gonna approve it no matter what happens. I mean, you know, the road's gotta be redone. So
Yeah.
if this is the least environmentally impactful, this
Yeah.
creates the least amount of environmental damage, then
Yeah.
I have no problem with it.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, if your engineer worked with National Grid on the locations of where these need to be, then yeah.
And that detail hadn't really been worked out, hadn't been fully vetted a couple of years ago. So, you know, this was the opportunity to get their feedback and get them into our timeline.
Not that it's relevant, but, or particularly relevant, I think we're gonna see a lot more impact on Hop Brook from the tree trimming that's gonna occur along the power lines, so that's coming up sometime over the next several years.
Well, they thought the file for that.
Yeah. All right,
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for your time.
you bet.
Next up, we're going to get back on track here. Next up, we have notice of intent. BP 104-1130 West Street, Joseph Miller for a single family.
to get what CG painted.
Yeah.
Okay, hello everyone, for the record, Ryan Nelson from Arlo Associates. This property you should be familiar with. We had submitted an RDA a while back to determine what resource areas on the site. There's an isolated wetland about halfway up the property, and then 2 areas of BBW surrounding where the proposed house site is going to be. And Joseph Miller, over on the sidelines, he's looking to construct a single-family home on the property. There's an existing logging road, farm access road historically on the property that the proposed driveway will make use of that route. There's a couple pinch points, one located here next to an IBW. No proposed disturbance to the IBW in that location. And then we have another pinch point where there's an existing farm crossing that BBW, however, there's going to be no impact to that BBW at that location. Our design is going to utilize a concrete block retaining wall on both sides of that driveway and keep that footprint within the confines outside the BBW. As we progress towards the house location, we have a BBW located here, and then another one at the rear of the site. We try to keep all work outside of the 50-foot buffer zone, aside from the driveway access route. So 2 different viewports you're seeing on the plan. Up here is the first half of the driveway from West Street to that secondary crossing location. This other layout is from that crossing to the rest of the site. So here's the proposed house. Typical pool patio area in the back. We'd like to do a proposed ADU and then a detached garage. We have implemented a stormwater design for this project. So all the roof leader water from those structures is going to be captured and routed through piping through a series of infiltration basins located at the downhill extent of the site. That's to provide stormwater attenuation so that for post-development doesn't exceed pre-development runoff for the project. We also did a septic design for the property. The leach field is going to be located down here, down gradient of the property. It's going to be a gravity system, and that will service the ADU as well as the house. And the reserve area is located across the site up here. So just to reiterate, all of this work is staying outside the 50-foot buffer zone, but we do have some 50-foot buffer zone impacts along the driveway corridor. We have a Mass DP file number. There are no comments to that issuance letter, so I can answer any questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have a question. When was this lot created?
It was created as part of a fairly recent A&R, some state lot. For the exact year. Based on a plan of land, northerly side of West Street, dated November 8th, 2024, revised November 26th, 2024. So fairly recent, 2 years ago.
2 years, okay. And what was this created out of?
A single parcel, I believe it was divvied up into I forget the exact number, 4 or 5 different parcels.
So north is to the right. So was it created out of just what we see, or did it come from the parcel to the west or the parcel to the east, or both?
It came from parcels in this direction. So I think there's a recent house being built located somewhere over here. And then another one up closer to the frontage. So those other lots off-site aren't shown, just like two shown here.
So seems to me that somebody created their own hardship when they made these lots.
Potentially.
Yeah. Because you're down, what's at that first pinch point, what's the offset?
Offset,
Off the line, off the wetland line,
oh,
for the driveway.
it's a few feet from the edge of silt fence to the wetland and then same thing.
Certainly well within the 25.
Correct.
I can count on one hand the number of times we've let people inside the 25 in 25 years. Less than one hand, two, 3 times total. And the crossing, it's marked on the plan as a logging road.
Correct.
So after every forestry operation, at the conclusion, the crossing's supposed to be removed. So this is going to be new construction.
For driveway, correct, yes.
So you are just automatically assuming we're going to give you a
I'm not assuming.
well, okay, just check. At the very least, I would think you'd want to go back to and make a common drive, and I'm not even sure you're going to get that far, but for starters, you should have tried to get a common drive, come up and go around that wetland so you get off the edge there at the first pinch point.
So this BBW extends farther off site.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about, see that line right there?
Which line, Ed?
The
The one to the west?
on the next lot over. So that lot, if you brought a driveway in along that upper edge, you could come down, get past that first wetland system and cut right, and you get a lot further out.
I didn't conduct any delineations off site.
So, okay, so that's not necessarily upland over there. Well, so that wetland sequence is not.
I had stopped the delineation of this line roughly at the property line.
No, at the wetland next to that first pinch point. Does it end where it seemed to end?
This is an isolated one, yes.
Yes.
It's closed depression. Yep.
So if you had gone right up to the edge, you could have gotten around it.
If that other lot was.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now, as far as I'm concerned, you're not getting that close. Not gonna happen as far as I'm concerned. Can't speak for the rest of the board, but
Well, all right, let's talk about that crossing, because there's the other one too, there's 2 crossings.
right.
And that one, the first one at the isolated wetland, is there, the drainage from that isolated wetland, it's gotta go someplace, all right? Is it going to the east? Is it going underneath that driveway and to the east?
Yeah, so we don't have any cross conveyances. The low point is right here, so it normally flows when it does exceed, if it does. I hadn't seen it personally. If it were to exceed the limits of that IBW, it would drain off to the east. So with our intent of our design is this is going to be maintained as the low point, and that any inundation would flow over the driveway, continuing off-site. The reason why we couldn't provide any cross culverts underneath was the tolerance of the property line, just a grade out there.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
Sure. So we're showing if this was area was the received stormwater drain event.
Yeah, which it will.
Yeah, over the driveway, over the surface of the driveway.
So if it exceeds the height of the driveway, it's gonna flow across the driveway.
Correct. And our intent was to put the driveway at grade at the existing low point here, so that we don't impound water from that IBW. We didn't have the elevations for the working room of the property line to put across.
So what you're telling me is that it's so close to the property line that you can't put in an outlet at that point for like a culvert? Is that what you're telling me?
Partially, yes. There's a stone wall that shares that property line, so the stone wall has to get dismantled. order to avoid that.
Yeah, that's a problem. So you got an old forester up there, and right next to it is a stone wall.
Correct.
So that stone wall is sort of acting as a dam, and it's only allowing water to the degree that it's got gaps or openings through it to allow drainage through it to the east.
Yep, we're trying to mimic just what's occurring there currently. Not really raising the grade in that location, keeping that low organic grade.
Yeah, I see a problem here. Okay, so look, I'm a trained hydrologist. This is, water flow is what I did for decades, all right? And this just smells of trouble to me. We already got comments from the next door neighbor, the guy that owns that property right there. That home, yes, right there, that one.
Yep.
All right? And if you put something like that in there, and he ends up with any increased area of that wetland, or flooding, they're gonna say you did it.
So as part of our design, we did do a hydrocat analysis.
Yeah.
For this watershed.
Yeah. And how are you going to how are you going to simulate in HydroCAD an old stone wall? What do you use?
It's not impounding water now. There's no evidence that it impounds water. It still drains off-site.
I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
Have you been to the site?
I have not been to that site, and maybe I should be to the site. Maybe I should walk the site. Do you have any photographs of the site?
Not at that particular location.
Yeah, okay. Ed's got a problem with that, and I've got a problem.
Okay.
Now, the next one up, I want to talk about that one a little bit. What exists there as a structure right now?
Nothing that's that visible. We found remnants of an old corrugated metal culvert or something. There's stone there. There's some sort of, filtration going through underneath the road somehow.
So how is the road constructed? Is it a bridge or is it a?
Sure, yep. So there's going to be concrete block retaining walls, and then here we are proposing two twin 12-inch HDP cross culverts. So they actually balance pipes.
So,
You mean currently?
so there's evidence of a culvert there?
Potentially, we found remnants of a pipe, yep.
So why doesn't that have to meet the streamwater crossing standards?
Because we got it determined as a BDW with no stream.
We delineated that way?
Well,
I mean, we confirm that?
Yeah, they did go up there. But that is true. I mean, we did see the evidence of an outlet pipe, and there's definitely low. Because it's obviously the.
If it's low, I mean, we're gonna have to see why it doesn't meet,
And
you're
we
not
don't-
required to meet the stream crossing standards.
And we don't actually have too many issues there. Yeah, it would be good to hear more of how that was determined, BBW.
Sure. Yeah, there's not
Yeah.
a defined channel moving through the BDW. It's a bunch of just overland kind of braided drainage patterns. There's really no definite inlet or outlet that exists there today. It just seeps through the ground.
Field site visit be maybe the next most appropriate step.
What's that?
Field site visit for the commission.
I would say absolutely.
If anybody hasn't and wants to.
So just, let's get as much out of this as we can. So what's the offset from everything else up at further in?
Yep, so probably right around here, past the crossing is where we exit the 50-foot buffer, and all of the work stays outside the 50-foot. That's it.
So the limit of work, everywhere else is 50 or greater.
Correct.
We do also require a permanent limit of work line to be marked. out in
Mhm,
the
we can
field.
certainly do
I'd
that.
like to see it.
At some bound locations or something. Yep. That's no problem.
Yeah, that's an easier one, other than the getting out of the 25.
So typically, we understand the Belchertown's wetland bylaw, the protections of 50 and 25. If this was, a brand new construction, no existing road, we probably would have consulted that this wasn't feasible. Part of the process, reason why we went through the RDA process was to establish that there was some existing access disturbance. So we were trying to utilize that footprint.
Yeah, not right up to the edge. I mean, forestry operations are supposed to be temporary.
Right. Yeah.
And as you probably know, forestry operations, we don't even get we get the comment, but we don't get any say in the matter. But this, we absolutely do. And, as I said, less than 5 times have we let anybody inside the 25. And 3 or 4 of those were temporary and not permanent. I can't see you getting inside the 25. Not on the lot that was created 2 years ago. Somebody should have looked at that before they cut the lot.
What if they built a bridge?
At the second one,
First one,
built a bridge,
and
I I'm still thinking they gotta go up into that other lot, go to the west. I think cutting a common drive in might, I don't know what the farthest offset they could get there, but
Right.
gotta be more than what it is, where it is right now. You see what I'm saying? Come down that other property line to the top of the
but
page.
that assumes that the property owner is willing to give that.
It was cut out of the same lot.
Yeah, I understand that. But that only gets rid of the first crossing.
Yeah.
It does that, but you're not, I would say that they should go back and look at it and figure it out. My suggestion. And as you said, we probably should get out there as a group and take a look at it.
Well, things are drying up, and it's not a bad time of the year to actually be.
No.
doing this.
Mosquitoes aren't flying yet. It's only a matter of time.
Black flies.
Was the original plan of land submitted with this notice? I don't know what's the normal thing that I just showed up
What?
today.
Julie, what are you asking?
If the plan of land was submitted.
So we have the original
Already
NR
on
plans.
the, existing conditions plan, it says it's by LiDAR. And I don't know if that meant it wasn't surveyed by PLS or.
So the boundaries, property boundaries are surveyed, and then we use LiDAR generally for large forested areas, but we did shoot a corridor up the logging road. We usually spot check that with the LiDAR. We usually find those area. But if you're asking for the A&R plan that shows the entire lot division, that wasn't submitted, but we can certainly get that. That's recorded.
So we should have that in our records. And whoever did the A&R would have received something that we refer to as a standard letter, telling you at the time that, yes, we don't have any say in how you cut the line, cut the lot out. But there was no guarantee that the lot was buildable either. That was the risk that whoever created the lot assumed when they did what they did.
Yeah.
And this is where it's gonna reach around and bite you in the keister.
Well, unfortunately, there's development of lots to the north, so I'm not so sure we can change that much.
A separate question for you. So looking at that layout two on the eastern edge of the property, there's the water retention basin, right? It looks pretty close to the property line. I guess it's a question of like, what is allowable, other regulations about how close those structures can be to property lines?
You're talking about the long,
Yeah, there's a couple of those.
Yeah.
Right.
It's my understanding, unless there's something that I'm unaware of, that you can grade right up to the property line.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I don't think I've heard anything about that, but it makes sense.
That would be a question for the planning board and the building inspector.
And then,
I would say,
go ahead, sorry, something.
no, sorry, I was just gonna say, like, permanent structures, of course, you need to follow whatever the setback may be, but that's a good question. Yeah.
There was that, and then I guess I'm not quite sure what I'm looking at. I can show you this faster. This thing right here, maybe you can show the rest of it.
Sure, that's located right here.
Yeah, so what can you explain what that is, please?
Yep, so that would be, the emergency overflows right here, so that's just like a regress spillway. But to the left over here, that's an outlet that meters out stormwater. That is a 6-inch pipe. Has about a 1-foot elevation gradient across it. So that's meant pretty much as a drain at the bottom of the basin, so that the basin doesn't hold water that can become dry.
So it's okay, so it's a drain at the bottom of the basin.
Correct.
So it's right up at, both of those two structures are right at the property line too. So I guess what I'm wondering is, do you have those wetlands?
No
Adjacent
wetlands,
properties?
no wetlands over here. And the reason why we're so tight to that, we're trying to avoid the 50-foot buffer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Where's that?
We need 100 years.
Tell them now.
But it is, it is pretty good.
Well, those are the rates, that's not how much.
Oh, volume?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what the bylaw is concerned about, the
Okay.
volume.
Our bylaw also requires the 100-year storm for the storm. Sorry, I didn't catch that before.
I can check on that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that yet, so.
Yeah, yeah, didn't notice that.
Could you say that again? I think that was important on this.
So, the wetlands bylaw for stormwater calculations requires the 2, the 10, the 25, and the 100-year storm event to be calculated.
And so the idea being, they would be calculated for this water retention?
Yes,
Basin?
for any runoff from the driveway to
Okay.
house, yes, would have to be accounted for in the basin.
With a view to see if that would have capacity to hold up to the 100?
Yes.
Wait, I'm just connecting the dots for me, sorry.
No, okay.
Thank you.
And we're also gonna need to know what the flows are offsite.
Yeah, maybe I just.
We see the rates, but not the total flows,
Sure, yep, I can provide that for you.
both pre and post. We all set? Any more questions and concerns?
Well, this is gonna be continued, right?
I would assume.
Okay.
Anybody from the audience?
Yes, sir.
If you have questions or comments, only thing I'm gonna say is make sure that this is not a free-for-all for anything regarding this. Our concerns are only in regards to Wetlands Protection Act and this hearing.
Understood.
Okay.
My name is Edward Sarkeesian. I own the property abutting the proposed project that we just examined.
Would this be to the east or west?
We are to the right on one end to the west.
You're the next lot up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. You already have a house there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It's not on the plan, so we don't know.
Do you happen to know who Matthew Donahue is?
Yes, and the attorney?
Yes, so do I. After careful evaluation of your proposal, he deemed this, and I quote, an engineering disaster loaded with engineering flaws, quote unquote. To begin, there's going to be delineation of wetlands, and there's not enough area to redistribute those wetlands. Number two, impeding on buffer zone is going to create an enormous amount of erosion. Number three, irreparable damage to the vegetation, not to mention the wildlife, salamanders and turtles. And it's awesome, you haven't examined that property, not once but twice, once in a while. Number four, I know a little bit about swimming pools. I built them for 10 years and I maintained them for 10 years before I went to Homeland Security. I'm going to appeal to this gentleman right here, knowing a little bit about water treatment and water supplies. Building an in-ground pool or above-ground pool near wetlands is an engineering disaster. Swimming pools are treated with a chemical called trichlorous triazonitrol, which is the component that was used in Agent Orange, the chemical that was killed both of my uncles in Vietnam. In extreme cold conditions that we experienced this past winter, concrete cracks and liners split. Once that chemical seeps out, it will create irreparable damage to the wetlands, the vegetation, and the wildlife. Now, our property abuts this property. The issue isn't here on our property. The issue here is the enormous amount of wetlands that's going to be encroached upon, not to mention encroachment on the property. Now, this project, as Mr. Donahue told us, is an engineering disaster. It needs more careful evaluation than what we're seeing right now. And appealing to the Conservation Committee to do just that. Joseph Miller, I've known you for many years. Liz and I went to your wedding. You know me, I'm an honorable man. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. The honorable thing would have been sitting down with us and discussing your intentions. That's the honorable thing. I'm asking all of you for further consideration on this disastrous engineering proposal. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I like to stand up for myself. Can I come here or should I go up there? Thank you. I appreciate you guys' time tonight. I didn't really intend on speaking.
Have you signed the attendance sheet?
I did sign it. Appreciate you guys' time. I'm just trying to do everything right. I did talk to Ed 2 months ago. I shook his hand and let him know our intentions. As that's truthful. I've just tried to do everything right. I got the habitat evaluation done, all that checked out right, so I don't have to worry about salamanders or anything else. And when it comes to in-ground pool, I've always wanted a saltwater pool, so don't have to worry about chemicals there. Appreciate you guys' time. I'm not very good at speaking to people, so thank you.
Anybody else? Anything more from the commission?
Not if this is gonna continue.
Okay, if we're gonna continue, we probably should give them a list of things that they need to look at. Sure.
Going backwards, have the action steps of, the engineer's gonna look at the flows offsite, not just the rates, the runoff volume. Yeah, the 100-year storm will be in the revised calculation. Maybe a question for the planning board related to the eastern edge? Yeah. Something new? Yeah, okay. Y'all would like to do a site visit, so we would help coordinate that?
We can, if the commission would like to, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure if there was a request to provide a wetland delineation, provide the DPW data sheets for a wetland report. Was that in the data line? A wetland report from the wetland.
So did we do an internet?
No.
It wasn't
Yeah.
there?
It was an RDA.
Okay.
Determine the wetland line.
Correct. Yeah, they've been previously determined.
Oh, maybe there was delineation.
I don't know.
I don't think there, yeah. There isn't delineation sheet this year.
So I guess there was a question of, there was flow and does that need to be more,
Yeah.
was it salmon, does someone need
Yeah.
to say, yeah, we're looking, there's no
Yeah.
intermittent stream, there's just, like you said, the braided.
Yeah.
So is that something that would be on your all's to-do list, or?
I think for that component, the site visit, we can probably determine that.
Yeah.
I have two other, since we're asking for additional information, I get at least a couple. One of them is, you've shown engineering for the second crossing. I'd like to see an engineering detail for what you plan to do in the immediate area of the first wetland crossing.
Sure.
And I'd also like to see photographs, okay, of those, in particular, those two locations, all right?
Okay.
So that's A. B is, do we have an alternatives analysis in the NOI? We do.
It was not very, didn't really cover it to my satisfaction, but.
Right, there is an alternatives analysis.
Yeah.
All right.
Nothing compelling.
Oh, okay, all right, yes, I do recall that, I'm sorry. There is an alternatives analysis. I just wanted to make sure that there is one.
Especially with a lot creation date of 24.
And you have the HydroCAD simulations
Yeah.
in the stormwater analysis? Okay. Probably should take a look at those.
Yeah.
That's what I've got. And
Okay. Does anybody think of anything else? That's quite a list. How much time do you think you're going to need?
We can continue it maybe 1 month,
You want to go till June?
two meetings, yeah.
Well, our next.
Oh, unless,
So our next one's what, 3 weeks?
Well, yeah, our next one is May 18th. That's our only one in May because of town meeting. then June 6th is that.
If we think we can have a site visit as well before that, we might be able to.
There really is availability for a site visit.
Yeah, late afternoons or first thing in the mornings tend to work.
It's just on a particular day,
Okay.
you know. It'll work.
Yeah. Understand.
No, well.
We understand. Okay. We can figure it
So make a motion to continue this until June.
Well, it's up to the applicant, but I would suggest we can shoot for May 18 and then we can always continue it again.
Yeah, let's go with that. Let's go with that.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Good.
Continued to May 18th.
Thank you.
Next up, we have notice of intent, DEP 104-1132, continued from March 9th, 35 Lake Drive. Ken Coslick, accessory dwelling to unit.
Evening, everybody. Again, I'm very determined to further. Ken Crosby. Ken wants to, a few things you'd like to discuss first. This is the original.
A little bit of history on this application. The special permit was distributed to all town departments on May 1st, 2024, with a request for comment by June 19th, 2024. Note here, application did show structure, proposed structure in a 50-foot buffer. According to the planning board, no comments in regards to the special permit were received, and the application was approved on July 9th, 2024. So no town departments that were notified with the application responded with any comments to the application. Upon approval of the special permit, at some point in time, I spoke with Sarah Borgen as to what might be required to make this project go through. And all she told me was the notice of intent that we needed. So at this time, I started the notice of intent process with Sherman and Frederick. Also at this time, owners Sherry Loftus engaged in detailing specific details and drawings for the final design of the ADU with architect and structural engineer. Keith Terry from Sherman and Frederick made the presentation of the notice of intent at the first meeting on March 9th. I did not attend because I did not think there would be any issues with this proposed notice of intent, as the previous project on this parcel was approved 19 feet from the edge of the lake, and this project is at 36 feet from the edge of the lake. Apparently, the Conservation Commission has some reservations about the proposed project and has to modify the plan. Keith Terry from Sherman and Frederick made some changes to the plan with what he thought might help the case, but when presented at the March 23rd meeting, of which I attended, the enhancement did not seem to change the attitude of the Conservation Commission. I expressed my concerns that the owner had invested a substantial amount money in the development of the notice of intent and in these specifics and details of the structure with architect and structural engineer. At that time, committee chair Ed Knight stated, "That is why we suggest you talk to us first." I then asked that the hearing be continued. On at least 2 separate occasions, possibly more, I spoke with Conservation Administrator Sarah Fortune, as I mentioned before, about what would be needed for this project. And at no time was a 50-foot buffer mentioned. That would be a situation.
It is in the regulations.
Oh, I believe it. I'm not doubting the regulation. And also the architect also spoke with Conservation Commission. And the only thing they mentioned was a notice of intent. So at no time was the 50-foot buffer ever brought to our attention. That would be an issue. And quite frankly, I wasn't even aware of it. That doesn't make any difference, but just let me know that. So we have tried to come up with a design change, but because of the lack of space, nothing works well. If we change the direction of the structure, as was recommended possibly by the commission, it causes us to move the current driveway that serves the runoff of existing structure and will accommodate the runoff of the proposed new structure. This will create more excavation in the 100-foot buffer. The current plan will not work at all. The current house plan will not work at all. With changing the positioning of the house, and it can't be, it just won't work right. We have to do a total new design. Changing the direction of the structure will also detract from the curb appeal of the lot, and quite honestly, curb appeal of the neighborhood. It will look like a temporary home set in front of an existing home, like you see where a house is not habitable due to fire or some other disaster. We've tried to do something with the current design, and it's small as it is, and only about 725 square feet. Just can't come up with anything feasible. I know it's water over the dam, but I just wish someone would have said that this 50-foot buffer was going to be a situation. Again, I reiterate the previous project on this parcel was done 19 feet from the lake. This one's at 36.
You want to address that one, Ed?
So,
Well, I mean, all right. I mean,
no, if you want to, go ahead, Steve.
what was done in, 2017, 2018?
That was under a different administrator.
And my understanding is that there was an existing footprint of a home at that point, and that the new construction was done on the existing footprint.
Correct. And it was added on to a little bit.
And they added on in the direction of the lake.
No.
The additional 19, so the additional foundation was towards the street?
No, stop.
Went to the side.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, but if it's still at that bottom edge, it would still work within the 25.
Correct.
Wow. Well, you think that would be allowable now?
A
Probably.
lateral?
Yeah.
Well, that they got in there at all was pretty remarkable. As I said, you can count on one hand the number of times it's happened. That's one of the times.
Yeah, and
And I think it was also, any more applications that came out of that. I went looking for the BCTV recordings. They don't exist, but if they did, I know what it was going to show.
so what's your memory of it?
The memory of it is that somebody made the comment at the time that if any more applications came in on this lot, there was not going to be anything else allowed inside the 50. Because they'd already used it all up and then getting that additional work at 19. But if that's not in the minutes, but that statement was made.
I wasn't involved in that
No, you were not.
process.
But Keith, you were there. The minutes say you were, well, that you were at both hearings for that one in 17.
Yeah, that's a reasonable thing. It's been eight, 9 years. Well, let me just remind the commission that we had a piece, we considered something similar on Metacomet, Lake Metacomet, fairly recently, in which there was a rebuild of a cottage.
All the work was away from
All the new work was
All
further
the-
out.
We allowed them existing footage of both the footprint and any additional that was within the 50 had to be within the square footage of what was in the 50. Foot buffer.
Right,
Do you recall that, Ed?
yes.
And any additional work, because they did want a bigger home, had to be beyond the 50.
That's right. This has new construction closer to the lake from the existing footprint.
So the issue really here is the 50 foot, okay? You gotta keep it outside the 50 foot. Any permanent structure, that is to say, that has, a foundation, permanent dwelling, gotta be outside the 50. Now, I understand the problem here. You've got a very small lot. This is, what, a 10,000 foot square lot? Yeah, and we're talking about less than a quarter of an acre. Now, I understand the reasoning for the ADU. I get it, okay? What I'm having an issue with are two things within your alternatives analysis, okay? One is the economics, okay? You're saying it's not economically viable. Well, it's a valuable piece of property already. What you want to do is you want to add value to the property, okay, by adding in a better ADU, because apparently there is something on top of that garage now. Okay? So, I'm not seeing the economic, hardship here, so to speak, okay? If you stay outside of the 50, yeah, you may not get the 725 square feet. You may get something less, all right? Now, the other is this, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to read the, based on the above information, it is our opinion that the alternatives to the proposed ADU construction would increase the financial burden on the applicant. I don't know where that statement's coming from. And significantly reduce the value of the lakefront property. Again, it's not going to reduce the value of the property. The property is already a very valuable piece of property. It's only going to enhance property if you put any kind of an ADU there. And therefore would not be substantially an equivalent economic alternative. So I'm not buying that statement. And then the other one is, additionally, the alternative would not reduce the amount of disturbance within the 50-foot setback to the wetlands, meaning the pond, the lake, on the parcel. Again, I don't agree with that. What you're talking about is you're putting a permanent, we're talking about an incursion of a permanent structure inside the 50. whatever is there now, whether it's a patio or some other, is not permanent. It's not a permanent structure. What you're talking about is building a permanent structure within the 50. Again, from my perspective, and again, this is just my opinion, I will not speak for the other members on the commission. I think we have to draw the line here. We have to say that the 50 foot, you're not going to get inside the 50 foot because the wetlands regulations basically say no.
All right, so let's define a structure so we understand what we're talking about. So you're defining a structure as an open deck?
No, wait a second. We're not talking about the deck. We're talking about the permanent dwelling.
Okay, so this is the discussion.
Exactly.
We need to make sure we know.
And again, I'm only expressing my opinion here because there is language in the wetlands regulations on the Mass side about what they consider to be, what do they call it, minor activities, which would be, other activities on a property that would be permissible. Now, according to the wetlands regs, there's not even supposed to be this within the 50 foot. But I think that we have allowed decks within the 50 foot, have we not?
We look at the total picture as a total package. I mean, we would certainly view this if this was an elevated deck on the second floor with a couple of piers as opposed to being a ground level deck. That's a whole different animal.
All right, so let's discuss that. How much higher off of the ground does the suspended deck have to be before it's allowable to suspend over this, the 50 foot?
I don't know, Keith. You know the property better than I do.
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the architect
Mm-hmm.
and we say they will allow a deck or they will not allow a deck, that's what the architect needs to know. So if the deck is suspended over the ground 6 inches and you won't allow it, but the deck is suspended over the ground 12 feet and you will allow that, I need to know, we need to know, we're trying to find a go, no-go type answer so that we can move forward with something.
Yeah.
Right? Now, speaking about piers again, previously in one of the meetings, there was a question about putting the living space on piers. So my question, I want that clarified. If the section of the living space that is on, that is above the ground is on piers, is that going to be allowed, within our 50-foot offset or not? Right? So
the question is,
if we receive an answer on that, then we can possibly make allowances for, removing the foundation and relocating the utilities, making some sort of compromise on the concrete foundation, right?
thank you, Keith. Let me make a point. Okay, you're asking very good questions. I just want to make a point that my understanding of the ADU is to be allowed on this site. Okay, so I think was it the ZBA or whoever issued a special permit for an ADU? The planning board. You sure it was the planning board? You sure it wasn't the ZBA? Because I spoke to the planner today and we didn't think that it went through the planning board.
So just refresh my memory, how far is the existing structure right now from the edge?
Well, it's right here.
Well,
I
is
think
it
this
that
is-
one, or
Yeah,
so it's outside the 50?
the existing structure is outside of.
Yeah,
So everything right now is outside the 50?
well, for that
The existing
freestanding
garage.
structure, right.
Right. So everything,
Okay, all right. So this is the planning board's approval of an ADU at that particular lot.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Evidently, I misunderstood. So this is, they are allowed to put an
Yeah.
ADU on that property, okay?
yeah,
I think the question here is what are we going to allow them to build relative
exactly,
to the resource area, which is to say the lake?
exactly.
And I have a problem with anything that goes over the 50. I mean, the whole lot is within 100. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a given, you know?
but unlike the last one, this is not a recently created lot, so I mean, we do have that.
But yeah, this is. an existing
Yeah, this,
lot.
yeah, no, and certainly, we understand that.
So I think Keith's questions, to go back to them, the question is now, what would we allow or not allow for any kind of a deck off of the structure that perhaps would go inside the 50? And how far would we allow
Maximum achievable.
it? Yeah, I guess.
The deck, for point of information, did not even necessary, but we need it for a second egress.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's part of your design or whatever.
To
Right.
access the stairway, to get down to the, or the street level, or the garages. So there's 8 feet of actual foundation within the 50, and 6 feet of depth.
You said 8 within the 50 on the foundation? And you say 16 on the deck?
No, 6.
6.
Total of 14 feet.
So if you lose the deck,
There's still 8 feet inside the.
so now you're down to 42
What do you mean you're down to 42?
instead of 36.
There's, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Or the incursion would be, you would, if you lost the deck, you'd go from 36 to 42.
But he still needs the deck in order to have
Well,
the second acre.
the deck is the full width of the structure.
Right.
I mean, if you just need an egress, you got a door and 2 concrete patio blocks outside the door.
Yeah, I don't know if that second level is right even with the elevation.
So the second level is above the existing grade. I believe it's at least 2 to 2.5 feet. I apologize, I don't have that.
So the elevation of the floor of the second story,
The living space. yeah.
Of the living
First
space.
floor, there's only one floor.
Yeah.
So the living space floor is at least 2 feet higher than the existing grade outside of the existing.
got it. So if that were to be extended, the height of the existing garage floor of the living unit were extended to the 50 foot, there would be a 2-foot clearance between,
There'd be a vertical difference.
Yeah.
At least 2 feet.
so that deck would be 2 feet off the ground, is what you're saying.
So that begs the question, you know, if it's above grade in theory, then what does, you know, where does it lie in structured, non-structured, suspended, not suspended? You know, I'm just trying to.
Again, I don't have a problem with, you know, a 2-foot clearance of a deck off towards the resource area if it's 6 feet wide. That would be a 6-foot incursion. You know what I'm saying?
You're saying 6 feet of depth? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
So you're saying,
if they extend this to the 50-foot, then take this and move this over to here, so it's 6. So it would be a 6-foot incursion in. But this is all hypothetical.
so you're saying if the back foundation wall were at the 50,
At the
and
50.
it had a 6-foot deck, so then you would be down to 44 feet.
That's right.
That's a hell of a lot better than where we're at right now.
I mean, again, this is just my opinion. I'm not gonna speak for the other.
That would certainly make it a lot more palatable
Right.
from my point of view.
So it was a 2-part question, and I think we have the first part answered about a deck that's suspended over the ground. You know, it's on a, let's say, a vehicle pier or something, you know, very slender. So the deck is above grade, and now it's just earth below the deck, right? And so the commission has agreed that that's palatable in this situation.
It's more palatable. I didn't, you know, again, that's me personally, but.
So the question still remains, at a hearing before, I had the impression that there was a thought that the living space being on some sort of slender foundation pier type thing would be more acceptable to the commission than having the foundation in 100-foot buffer, 50-foot, sorry, setback. So, I'd like to address that and get the feeling of, you know, is this something that is a go or no go? Because, you know, if we're going to revise the ADU and come in thinking that, you know, it's living space supported on piers works, and then you guys say, no, it doesn't, then we're back again.
Yeah, I understand.
So
You don't want to waste time doing
I
this.
figure might as well just get the question in the open, get the answer in the open, and you know, figure out how to.
May I express my opinion?
Absolutely.
A 4-season, fully enclosed structure needs to be outside the 50-foot. Okay? If you're talking about an exposed, well, even a semi-covered deck that is on piers, that does not have a permanent foundation underneath it, can extend into the 50 again, in my opinion, a short distance, okay? I understand that you need egress, and, you know, this is a reasonable accessory to the dwelling, okay, is a small deck. But again, the permanent structure, 4-season enclosed structure outside the 50. That's my opinion.
Yeah. See, I was approaching that a little differently.
Go ahead.
If they stop their structure at the 50-foot line, but then on the second floor extended another 10 feet closer to the lake. That was my thought. But because their foundation would have stopped, their ground disturbance would have stopped, other than like 2 or 3 or 4 piers. Other than that, their disturbance would have stopped at the 50. And yes, their second floor could have extended another 10 feet or something closer to the lake.
I understand that, but
No.
it becomes a permanent structure.
Yep, it does, but I mean, so that's what Keith is, I think what you're exploring, correct?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so-
If we know that, we know that we're making a bunny habitat underneath the deck, is it still, is it still suitable or acceptable to make a bunny habitat underneath the four-season living space? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm exploring what is allowed, what is not allowed, because from my vantage point, if I'm going to, suspend the deck over ground, is, how much of a difference is, and is that a difference enough for the commission to say no, right? So I just would rather hammer it out with the guys than to keep coming in inch by inch. Not that I don't, have a problem coming back and forth, but I don't want to upset you guys. Maybe we can come up with a solution.
I'm just looking at the regs, Keith.
Yeah, well, you have 8 pages of regs. And they only say so much.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got to interpret them.
So absolutely. Just as the same question was, what is a structure? Right?
Yeah.
Some people call it structure something.
Well, okay.
Call another structure, something else a structure.
In the Massachusetts, in the Department of Environmental Protection regulations, they talk about decks, okay, and where decks are allowable, et cetera, et cetera. Now theoretically, they say the deck should be outside the 50.
In the Mass State.
I believe so, if I read them correctly. Okay, it says, and this is in 10.02, blah, 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 okay. And it says, the conversion of lawn to uses accessory to residential structures, such as decks, sheds, patios, pools, replacement of a basement bulkhead, and the installation of a ramp for compliance with accessory requirements, provided the activity, including the material staging and stockpiling, is located more than 50 feet from the mean annual high water line within the waterfront area, bank, or bordering vegetated wetland, whichever is further, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? So, again, it's like they lay out some fairly general directions, all right? And then now we have to talk about the specifics. And in how does it relate to this particular site in this particular area? And, from what I read, or what my read of it is, permanent structures should be outside the 50 foot unless they're grandfathered in. And there's a lot of structures that aren't grandfathered in, and we've got to work with those, as they did back in 2017 for this landowner. They had to, because they wanted to rebuild the house. They needed to rebuild the house, or whatever, okay? Again, it's my opinion that we don't allow a permanent, structure inside the 50.
Any thoughts from anybody else?
Yeah, we've been chewing on this pretty hard.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you asked reasonable questions, Keith.
No, but the best way you're is to hear from the rest of the board if they have thoughts on this, that's how we're really gonna hammer this out, is know what everybody else is thinking.
I'm sure about those before, and it's a tough situation, it's a small lot, we're trying to do a lot in it. Number one, number two, it is worth considering that the land slopes back towards the road away from the water's edge. At least, you can see it in our classes, but for a portion of it. So at least some of the impacts are already mitigated just by the topography. But, you know, the regs are the regs, and if we're gonna hold ourselves accountable, then we're probably reluctant to allow any building in the 50.
Unless anyone else has any more feelings or expression, you know, thoughts they want to express, I'm happy to request into this hearing to move on and, you know, determine how we can take what you've told us now into a different design.
Okay, how much time?
Well, I guess, have we determined we absolutely cannot be within the 50 with this permanent structure? Aside the deck, you know, we really haven't determined that.
So I'm gonna suggest that we'll make a absolute hard and fast, be able to explain that we have so many inches, feet between the bottom of the structure and the existing grade. Right? If it's on here,
I mean, I am, if you'll let me, we do view decking, sidewalks, all of that stuff, we do view that as shading. So we do, you know, keeping square footage down in that regard is certainly to your advantage. So if you've got to go 6 feet across the entire width of the foundation, is going to work against you as opposed to the width of your door opening, since you're providing another egress is what you're doing. That's what you said. You know, if you give us the width of the door plus a couple feet, that's, you know.
it's understandable.
Okay. Because I think the plan here shows it going the full width of the structure, your 6 foot deck.
Obviously, it's a 6 foot slider, I believe, 6 or 8 foot slider.
Right.
And then they have to go to the edge of the house and go down the side stairs.
Yep.
So it's, I don't know the exact width of the house, there, maybe 20 feet, so down to 6, and probably 12 feet minimum would be needed.
All I'm just pointing out, just probably start trimming the square footage wherever you can find it.
Was there an initial, when this opened, did you already present one time? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is the third or fourth time.
So did you all present, the commission already gave feedback on your 25-foot no disturbance area planting plan? That already happened? And you guys are, how were you feeling about that?
So there was also a 2017 on this site, 2017 order of conditions issued when they took the original house and stripped it down to the original foundation, added, so I guess laterally parallel to the high water mark, they extended by however much, but it was parallel. It wasn't closer to the lake, it was parallel to the lake, and extended their foundation and rebuilt a whole entirely new structure. So that was in 2017. So we've had prior filings, and 2 years ago, I think they filed for a dock, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, that was the reason.
Which I'm not really including in all of this. But the 17 definitely I do, but.
And there was a planting plan in 2017.
Yes, there was a planting plan, and that was for mitigation for all the work inside the.
So is there any encroachment into that with this new plan?
So no, we're not encroaching into the 25 foot except for, after the first hearing, so this highlighted yellow, as far as I understand, is the plantings from the original 2017. And it appeared that this section didn't get included. So we suggested that we would come back and include this. And we also include along the property line and in front of the proposed ADU. Just for your quick knowledge, this is a very steep climb out of the lake. And approximately here is where this kind of ridge line, which extends through to the adjacent properties, then it has a shallow grade back towards Lake Drive. So rainfall wise, at the 25 plus or minus goes to the lake, the remainder of the site, overland flow goes away from the lake. And that was what Mr. Duncan was referring.
Yeah, that's one of our early discussions. They can't tweak that side of the equation anymore. They've already did that in 2017 and then have added even more in this current proposal.
And they are proposing a dry well to the west.
So we have
In north,
this building had a drywall installed underneath the drive.
And
And this building is going to tie into.
And was that one of the reasons why the footprint of the dwelling unit couldn't just move to the northwest? Is that what's in the way?
So we can't just shift the building. Are you speaking in this direction? Yeah, we can't shift the building this direction. Literally turn the shape 90 degrees to fit it over here because there's a exterior patio, or I'm sorry, porch kind of built on the end of the existing building. So the existing garage has a rectangular shape like this, and the architect is trying to follow the rectangular shape of the original footprint. Obviously, it's expanded, but that's the original rectangular shape that they're trying to work with.
I was just looking at some of the regs that are summarized actually in one of the other applications. That's all I have in disposal at the moment. There's a fragment here, but I'm just reading about the buffer zones and what our regs say is that a rebuttal can be offered if there's no other option. It says this rebuttal it may be overcome upon a clear showing that said land will not play a role in the protection of said interests. Said interest being the lake. And I think that's applying to the any construction in the 25 to 50. But I would like to confirm that. The reason why I'm looking at that is because if we're looking at the hydrology and if there is construction in the 50, then and it's draining away from the lake. I mean, would that qualify for a rebuttal? It's a question to the commission. It's that.
Look, the water that's falling on this property is going to end up in the lake. Even if it drains off to the drive and to what, a drainage way or a sluice way or whatever, the water is going to end up in the lake, period. That's where the drainage in this area is going to go. Now, I agree with Keith that the water on the front part, the part of the property that immediately faces the lake, yes, immediately drains to the lake. But even the water that drains, to the north, I guess would be, I don't know where the north arrow is. So it's actually draining to the east. Yeah, it's going to eventually, through some path, it's going to end up in the lake. That's where it's going to go. There's a train, a raised train bed right there, railroad right there. And I don't know where the culverts are underneath that rail, but the drainage in that area, it's all gone eventually. So I think that, again, I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound redundant here, but basically, from my perspective, we need to hold the line on 50. Now, maybe you can jigger your, modify your plan to somehow meet whatever the applicant, the owner's, thoughts are as far as the ADU is concerned, but, I understand, it's a small lot, it's gonna be, it's difficult. So anyway, I want to leave it at that. Can we continue this? We can.
I would suggest that we set it the next meeting, it's 3 weeks.
In May?
Yeah,
May
May.
18th?
We might as well just go for May 18th. And we'll check in if we don't have, any good progress, we will just continue until we come up with progress.
So moved. We have a motion. Second. We have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are continued to May 18th.
Good luck, gentlemen.
I appreciate you coming in.
So he's gonna do that from on there? Okay, next up, we have request for determination of applicability for Home Glen Conservation Area, parking lot improvements.
So this is a group effort between Kestrel Land Trust and I guess myself, us, the commission on our home Glen. The proposal is to expand the existing natural surface parking area for more parking now that the New England Trail can be restored for the new trustees' land. The disturbance will not be more than 1,000 square feet. They will be removing trees, regrading, and putting in more of the natural gravel parking area that is there. Hop Brook is, it's in 200 feet of Hop Brook for sure. It's at least 120 feet away at least. I only have this one map, so I will pass it around. You can see it's the far edge corner of the existing parking. We do have Walker Corby with us online. He is who the planning board and us like to use for trail design projects. He'll be the one doing the work. If you have any more extensive questions that I wouldn't be able to answer about the actual work itself.
I assume that the parking lot material will be what is there now?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like a 3/8 inch gravel. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're not talking about paving.
Correct. Correct.
And it's just the removal of the inner circle then of the vegetation and soil that's there. And then somehow increasing the number of parking spots
Yes, by as well doing some tree removals.
along the edges.
Back and left, like if you're driving in
Right.
deep, yeah, some additional parking spots. There's also some sign improvements
How many spots, parking spots are we talking about? I think there's like 3 or 4 there now, are there not?
Yes, and this would probably only add 3 or 4, but it would just make maneuvering better without the circle trees and all. Even though that was an awesome feature that it was left to be more natural, but it is kind of a hazard for multiple vehicles.
Yeah, well, I think the real intent there is to try to keep the vehicles off of Route 9
Yes.
and out of the,
Well, I think they also left a circle of trees in there to kind of keep the rural feel, not, big parking lot feel.
yeah,
But yes, obviously, the safety of getting off Route 9 is.
yeah.
Have we ever seen cars backed up there?
I have,
You have? Okay.
yeah, but that was in the old days. That
That was
was,
before.
yeah, before there was even a real parking lot. People would just kind of
Yeah.
piggly, gee, park.
Yeah, but I mean, as of recently, I don't really travel that way, so I don't know.
I would say it's anticipated that the.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place to hike.
It is.
It's really nice. It's a real, really nice feature. And now that, you can actually hike through
Yeah.
Again.
again. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
So if you got a buddy, he could park, or she could park up with the upper end and.
So that's what I anticipated would be more traffic.
Yeah. I have no problem with this.
It's all 100, right?
Right. Yep.
What's the funding source?
That's a good question. Kestrel Land Trust must get a lot of donor money if they can do these great projects. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Good question.
Yeah.
Where the bucks coming?
Yeah. Not from us. We don't have it.
Wait, from that paycheck, really good deal?
Yeah, it's in the mail. Still.
okay,
What do we gotta do?
exactly.
So there will still kind of be a standard set of special conditions. So if you could issue a negative box 3 that it's in the buffer zone but will not alter the area, but there will be a special condition.
So moved.
And you could also find negative 6 that it is not subject to further review by the Belchertown bylaw.
Does that need to be done at the same time or separately?
I think historically we've done a separate.
No, so RDAs, we typically try to do it one single. Yeah. So typically, we would have said, we would issue a negative determination and let you check the boxes per the intent of the motion. That's how we historically always dealt with RDAs. Well,
All right, so I move we check the boxes. That's Stephanie wants to check.
okay, we have a motion.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. And with that, we have one more. At 50 Federal for DEP 104-1133 Pelham Road. 50 Federal Operating Company duplex complex.
Keep 31 should have occurred. Just want to check out, and I'll give you an overview of the project. and understanding what we're looking for to do. I'm sorry, I want to do this. So, this is Federal Street, Route 9. Opposite side of the road is Stop and Shop. This is Pelham Road. Going towards the other end is the VFW. Presently, there's a 2.5-story dwelling that has 7 apartments in it. And the remaining of the lot is been cleared in the recent past. Has an existing sewer line running along the water road. So, being in the multi-dwelling district, the applicant is hoping to create a project of apartments. So these are the 2 units of apartment, 2 units. So it's a total of 10 unit of apartment complex. These 3 units will use one driveway. These units are close enough to the road, so each building has its own access to Pelham Road. The reason why I'm in front of the commission is that opposite side of Pelham Road is a wetland element that we flagged and located. And so the 100-foot buffer reaches into the parcel. The other portion of the work that, another portion of the work that your commission needs to understand is that to serve water to these buildings, we're looking into extending the water main that's in Federal Street, with existing stone, and trench down Pelham Road. So the water district has said they would like the extension all the way out with a hydrant. So that would require 550 feet of trenching in Pelham Road. So we would put our erosion controls on the opposite side of Pelham Road to protect the wetlands from the work in the street. Additionally, the town has a culvert that crosses Pelham Road in this location. So additionally, we will put erosion control measures and protection at the inlet of the culvert and at the inlet of the new proposed inlets to the storm drainage system. We are going to employ a large amount of infiltration and containment so that this development meets the pre-existing runoff, and that's part of the submission that was given to the commission.
Keith, where's the 50? You're showing the 100 as the pink line there.
I would have to get a scale. I believe the 50 is inside the right of way.
I scaled mine.
Is it on the map?
Yeah. Highlighted it.
You're gonna use winter socks or something in front of that culvert?
So there would be, we put stone, check dams along there's an existing trench or a swale along Pelham Road. So we would continue to have measures of check dams, and we would put up the silt socks, as you said, around the inlets. Absolutely.
I would ask that after every rain event, that they be inspected for sediment. And if they need to be cleaned, could be, 2 or 3 rain events, and you could overtop those with material and start getting it into the culvert. So I would ask that, after every rain event, those be inspected, just to, somebody got to get out there with a shovel and clean out the. During active construction, while we have open material. because I'm sure memory serves, there's quite a bit of there's enough grade there, the water's gonna get moving towards the road there. And any open material is gonna get carried right down to the road edge. Get caught up in that swale.
Absolutely.
So I noticed that there's a subsurface infiltration basin associated with the two that are immediately adjacent to Palm Road.
So we have, not only do we have that subsurface infiltration there, we also are going to do some subsurface infiltration over here to help manage the runoff from this section, and a subsurface infiltration here. The,
Do you anticipate the ones that are further away here? Are you relying on country drainage to deal with the runoff from those roofs and in the,
So-
impervious area up there?
we have a plan for roof leaders on the back two units to a rain garden up here. And we have a plan of roof leaders to the subsurface here. The roof leaders for these are going to go directly to this subsurface. This portion of the development is easier because we have the opportunity to have open storage. In this area, it's just so dense and confined that we have much more subsurface in order to manage the rainfall anticipated. And then the overland flow that you're speaking about, I'll repeat, the Pelham Road has a open channel swale on the project side of the property. And so whatever excess that we don't capture, when we overflow overland into that roadside swale, providing a culvert underneath our driveway, again, another culvert under our driveway, and finally, this will be, we're actually going to create a closed drainage underneath this driveway to connect the existing culvert. We've been in discussion with the Department of Public Works. They did suggest that they're interested in actually replacing that culvert.
Right.
And so their thought was, instead of replacing it in the same location, that they would actually want to shift the culvert over so that this driveway would be just a standard culvert under the driveway, and they would capture their water, or the street water, in the channel, this roadside channel, over on this direction, and then bring it across. That is,
So your stormwater management plan, that's under peer review at this point? Is that
yes,
correct?
it was submitted by bond.
Yeah.
Because planning board, this has been submitted to the Conservation Commission and the planning board at the same time. Tomorrow night is our first meeting.
Understood. Okay.
We have not received any comment from planning bond yet.
Right.
I don't know their schedule. I actually didn't reach out to them.
So we're gonna need to continue this until we get the.
That's perfect.
I would advise it anyway.
Yeah, until we get the review.
Sounds like timeline should only be another week. So.
Yeah, no, I understand.
I would suggest that we're probably gonna wanna keep this open until planning board is substantially done with it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You mean, made any modifications that they feel are
Yes,
necessary?
exactly.
Right, we have no intention to have to come back to you guys and ask for anything.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, this one looks fairly straightforward.
I don't have any other questions right now. Well?
I would say Pelham Road's gonna get closed for a day.
Excited by engineering plans? Come on, guys. Show a little enthusiasm.
Yeah, actually, I'm sorry. did withhold that information. I was talking to, we were going in discussions with the Department of Public Works after they saw the amount of disturbance that, cutting water lines across and running downtown. They actually told the applicant, they sent it to the planning board, that what they want us to do is to patch these trenches, come up with a proper patch pavement surface. And then, the final product would be to come back and mill this road and repave it from, full width from Pelham Road to the end of our project. So that's 550 feet of resurfacing that the Department of Public Works is expecting.
Yeah, but no, I was guessing that on the day that they pass that water line in the vicinity of that culvert, they're going to rip the culvert out and go under it. And that's, at that point, they'll shut the road down for that work, probably for that day. While that culvert's out of the ground.
Yeah. Okay, so, as long as the commission feels that your resources are being protected and that we're doing the proper things, I will just update the commission with whatever changes we need to do to address the concerns of the planning board.
Yep.
And then, and I would suggest that we go ahead and schedule, the next hearing date as our continuance, in hopes that Charlie Bond can get their comments to us so we can address things, in a timely fashion.
Okay. Any other questions and concerns? Your wishes.
The motion that we continue to May 18th.
Yeah. Yep. Second.
Motion and second, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
Very good, thank you for your time.
That one was easy.
We're trying.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this belongs to your other
What's
client.
that?
Yeah.
I'll make sure to get that.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's you. All right, going down the list.
Can I make a motion that we pay the bills?
If that's what if you want to do, sure. That's why they go down, because somebody just sticks them in wherever they get a word in edgewise. Second. So we have a motion, second, to pay the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The bills are paid.
We got no minutes.
No.
Pretty soon tonight.
Time is running out.
Next up, we have a COC for Pepper Ridge.
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Oh, you're hanging around for that.
Yeah.
Very critical.
And here, I thought you were just curious.
What they told me to keep it tonight.
Now the kids will take care of it for you.
So this is a project that is long overdue for a COC. As you know, Pepper Ridge roadway was built a long time ago, but loose ends were never tied up permitting wise. The developer is looking to get this roadway formally accepted by the town. some of the outstanding punch items that we've been working on. There was a lingering stormwater maintenance agreement, which has been updated and signed by DPW, will be doing future maintenance of the stormwater areas. Order of conditions, I think we satisfied all the items. We have an as-built plan. The project had very minimal wetland impacts. If you look at the start of the subdivision road off of Springfield Road, stormwater basin down here, no wetlands anywhere in this vicinity. Roadway comes up, climbs to the terminus of Pepper Ridge Drive. In that location, we have a much larger main stormwater basin located here, some inlet areas that convey to it, and then an overflow plunge pool over here, and that was within the buffer zone to BVW off-site. So it really was just this jurisdictional work area for the stormwater basin. The reason for the notice of intent. We've been maintaining that the past couple of years. Everything's in good working order. Road was repaved last summer. Everything's stable around the roadway. All the drainage is in good working order. We've been treating that in basis the past 2 or 3 years.
So is this COC just for the road? Just for the road and associated?
Correct.
So-
Drainage work, yeah.
So we done COCs for all the housing? Or do they even need them?
Some of them don't need them. There's only a handful of houses on the street and a handful of empty lots.
Okay,
But that's a good question. There is maybe only one house would probably be in this buffer zone.
So lot M has buffer zone, and then this is state lot, has some isolated land. Those are both undeveloped.
okay, all right. So they may have to still be dealt with in the future. Okay, but this is just for the road and the associated engineering. Okay.
So, did you mention replication
No replication for this project.
plantings?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
There were no.
Okay. You're good with all the stormwater?
When you went out there, how much did you observe discharging from the overflow to whatever that is? If there's a finger off there.
Sure,
or a
so-
stream or-
We've inspected the site many times over the past 3 years, during the spring and fall mowings and invasive species treatments. All the times that I've been on site, I never really saw a visible discharge from the overflow basin, the overflow control structure to this plunge pool. This plunge pool always has water in it. My guess is that it's intercepted groundwater or has some sort of lens at the bottom. So it always holds water, but I've never really seen any stream leading it.
Well, that's what's super strange is like the main basin and the inlet pipe don't seem to have any flow.
Mhm.
And like you said, there's low flow between the basin and the emergency overflow. But the emergency overflow is definitely flowing. There's a stream coming out of
Okay.
it. The first time I went up there was a month ago during heavy water.
Yep.
But then we went out this past Friday as well, and there was still a pretty significant stream.
Okay.
And just, I mean, I
Out
tried
of
to.
where, Stephanie, I'm
So,
sorry.
I'm sorry, so out of the southern.
That flow right there?
No, out of the overflow, the pool.
The little
The
pool there?
emergency Pool, south down.
Yeah, so let me clarify. There's a riprap emergency overflow, which is this whole berm. And then there's an outlet control structure that meters the flow out of this basin to like the secondary kind of plunge pool. It's just a big rock, huge boulder lined pool.
And that plunge pool is what, it has a constant flow.
Yeah, so it's, yeah, you're right, it's below the water table. And what you've created is a spring or a, you know, a permanent.
So ultimately, I have to ask, is it operating as designed?
I have no idea.
Right,
So that's-
Well, you probably have the best memory of 2004 of all of us here.
2004?
Yeah, because that's what struggles for me is like, sure, it's treated water, but is that velocity okay? I did notice in the notice of intent, it was approved to have a discharge in that area, I presume, but I did not see the velocity or the. That's.
Yeah, I'm sure some engineer designed it, they dug it, and then they realized they hit a spring, or they had, groundwater discharge / water table. This happens pretty consistently.
So has DPW signed off on it?
So we have a planning board meeting coming up as well. Based on our discussions we've been having with DPW the past few years, they have no issues.
I remember going out there with Sarah and looking at this thing.
It's been in the works for a long time. And this is that's the only main spot.
The big issue was maintenance, as I recall, when we were out there.
So
It was
they-
making sure it was maintained and that the invasive species was being dealt with.
Yes, so DPW is having to deal with the invasive species in the mowing. But there's, I would say, a very well-established cattails in the bottom of the basin instead of the wildlife seed mix that was.
So that bigger basin that's
Yeah.
upgraded, in there,
Yes.
you got
So
cattails in there?
Yeah, I wonder if tilling that would help at all. There's years of, built up. But you're saying it's been maintained and mowed in the past couple of years? Just the edges of the
Right,
basin,
so
not
for
the
a period of
bottom
time,
of the basin?
it wasn't maintained that well.
Yeah.
I actually have a side company that does stormwater-based maintenance, so the developer actually hired me when there was a forestry mulcher, got rid of all the trees that were in the basin, there were locusts in there,
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, it's nasty.
So got rid of all of that. We talked to DPW. The basin always usually holds water. There's no way to effectively get the vegetation out without getting in there and making an enormous mess. Couldn't reach most of the bottom of the basin from any of the side slopes. It's too wide. Talked with Philippe, our stormwater engineer in the office, and the vegetation in the bottom of the basin is thriving. It's doing really well. And we figured that it's probably best to just leave it. It's not inhibiting anything. There's plenty of volume in the basin. It's probably acting as a good filter. So we talked with DPW and they agreed that mowing just the side slopes of the basin was sufficient, and we haven't touched the cattails.
So we don't know how the grade in the bottom has changed.
We don't know.
So, because if it built up, we've lost storage.
Which
Which would have to
is
be,
it a puzzle or, I don't know, right, is it just high groundwater or something in that area?
I'm sorry, I'm losing the conversation here.
so I just, since this was done in 2004,
Right,
this board would have been, we didn't have a stormwater person then that was dealing with stormwater separately. This board would have dealt with stormwater. So I'm just asking the question that if we've had any buildup of material in the bottom of that basin, we've lost storage.
yeah, absolutely.
In which case that storage needs to be restored. But I don't know if it's enough to,
Or any.
ask Steve and Linda whether they want to deal with it or accept it as is. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. Heard nothing from Linda, heard nothing from Steve. They know this is coming.
Very much so. So we have a hard deadline.
I know what the hard deadline is. Deadline is the 13th.
Yes.
13th of May.
Yeah, that's a town meeting,
Oh,
when they're going to vote on
they
this.
want to transfer.
Yes, yes. So I am going to say that if they had issues, they would have said something.
Yes, like Brian mentioned, they're just do one last round of control on the invasive and mowing. That would be DPW's left.
So if this is on the warrant for the annual town meeting, that's on the 13th. They're, I would say they know it's coming. If they were going to say something, they would have. I'm good with it.
We're looking for a motion? why not? Well, put it out there.
Make a motion to order a certificate of compliance? Is that what we're
Issue is,
doing?
the issue, yes. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? COC will be issued.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Have a good night. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Okay. You're up. This is going to be Friends of Lake Wallace Maintenance.
Oh.
I'm Louise Lee, I'm the leader of Lake Wallace, and it's an all-volunteer organization of friends. So I may or may not be able to answer questions that you have about rec department or DPW.
The DPW is operating under our direction.
Mhm. Right.
So there are going to be, for the next 2 or 3 years, there's going to be several intensive mowings in there. So I saw what blew up last year on Facebook. That's coming from us. And they're going to continue.
Yeah, I think it was the blow up on Facebook around the brush hogging, the moment that happened last year was the timing of it. And if it happens in October,
It's going to happen 3 or 4 times through this warm months. So we are looking for a hard invasive control. So because of the way this project was built, they were in from day one, they were in literally from day one of construction, they were in violation of the order of conditions. So the only way to make this up is we had to find a way to get some real serious invasive control. And the only way you're going to get that is multiple intensive mowings through the growing season. It's not going to be limited to 1 or 2, it's going to be multiple. And that's, we've already roundtabled this. This was a discussion between this board, DPW, the town administrator, Doug Albertson, there was and a couple other people involved. And that's what we all agreed to do. So you can help us with that as it happens, you know, just know what's coming, and this is what everybody's agreed to get this back in compliance.
okay, yeah, that's because the basics. Is that information out there somewhere, or would I know in advance?
What's that?
That it's going to be happening, so I can time it.
That's going to be, that would be with DPW, and that would, I would guess, be based upon equipment and labor availability. So we aren't saying you got to do it this week or that week, no, but they know they've got like X number of times they've got to get it done, and they're going to be looking at growth and everything else, and they're going to, you know, I'm sure they're going to kind of look at how things are progressing as to when they determine they're going to do it. But there's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 years of this. They're trying to get all of that knotweed and everything else, or whatever the heck is down there. I don't remember, but there was something. No, there were invasives, so that's, whatever it was, there was a lot of it.
Bittersweet.
It's probably as bittersweet.
But, you know, as a volunteer group, I mean, I've been bringing people over doing trash pickups since 2009. You know, I'm part of Connecticut River Source to Sea. Done that once a year. And the volunteers do hand, you know, just by hand picking up plant material from the trail bed, talks about the trail. And this time of the year, clipping back, you know, just hands, you know, arm's length from the trail so that the trail doesn't become overgrown and unusable.
That's fine, just, but so you know, There were several places in there because of some compromises got made, that in a few places, we let the trail get in closer than we would have liked to the resource areas. And in those cases, yeah, we let it happen, but it was a lot closer than we would have liked. And consequently, in those areas, we need to limit yourself to the width of the trail.
You're talking around where the recreational fields are?
I mean, if I had the map, then yeah, because of the placement of those fields, and we were not consulted on. And then it's like, well, because of that, we got the trail in some spots inside the 25.
Oh, yeah.
And in those areas, we need, it absolutely needs, the trail work needs to be limited to the path. You know, within the, I mean, yes, something's falling into the path, by all means, you can cut it, but we don't want pushing back the sides.
Oh, gosh, no, it's enough to make the path usable for somebody who's in a motorized wheelchair or a walker. Or
Yeah, I mean, yeah, so hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the path plus 2 or 3 feet on each side, no, in those areas, especially where it's in close proximity, we want it limited to just the width of the path.
And, right, the plants that are not complying.
Right, yes, yeah, obviously, if something's falling into it, of course, you gotta
That's.
trim it up, clean it up.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, well, you know, poison ivy in the sunny areas, became a pretty big issue.
Yeah.
And so we were finding that just doing trimming along the edges of the path, and was encouraging.
It will.
The grass growth instead of the poison ivy.
Well, yeah, if you can encourage grass over poison ivy, that's always a wonderful
Yeah,
thing.
I'm horribly allergic to it, so that benefits me. But you know, as a group formed about 5 years ago, you know, as the trail was being envisioned and then put in, was all volunteer. You know, except for of course DPW's contributions until the end of last year, and then it's been a handover to the recreation department, and they're brand new at it. So one of the plans that we've got, you know, in the works is to develop a very straightforward maintenance manual, so that going forward, the rec department knows what work should be done and when and what frequency and how far to go and how far not to go. As you know, as they're learning to groom this trail so that somebody in a motorized wheelchair or with visual disabilities could go onto the trail. That, you know, so that the trail would be living up to the promise that was made when it was first put in. So that's kind of my role, because I've been the leader of the Friends Group these 5 years and have been kind of coaching the rec department about how to approach the maintenance and what to be concerned about, how to not just look at the area as they would look at the recreational field, that they're, you know, if they're considering doing some maintenance work, to check in with me so that I can advise them as best possible about whether or not their plan reasonably fits the particular spots, and also, you know, adheres to the special conditions. Just all of the above, trying to get rec on board with maintaining this trail. It's a work in progress, because they're used to maintaining fields, not trails. So this is it's a challenge I'm willing to take on because I'm retired. So
But yeah, yeah. But that's good to know that so I want to go back to the brush hog and mowing that
Yeah.
we were talking about. Are we talking about the area between the dirt road and, the lake's edge?
If I had the plans in front of me, I could probably
Right.
show you, but I don't, so I can't.
So the area that was brush hogged in June last year was done on the schedule that you requested from?
Well, it's the
Conservation Division?
locations. So we weren't as particular about the schedule, other than it was going to be done multiple times through the growing season. The locations more than anything is what we all got together and agreed to. We're trying to get the most bang, because I mean, literally, when I say from day one of the first phase, this project was in violation, and we had to get it back in compliance. Because there was a problem. I mean, you know, it was town-owned land, a town project being overseen by a town board. If there isn't a conflict there, I don't know what is. So this was not something we could afford to fool around on. We had to, you know, we had an issued set of conditions that were already recorded in Northampton. So we had to get drastic to get back in compliance.
I can look through the file and see if I have anything to share with you. I don't remember because this was over a year ago, but.
So all this remediation was determined over in the conference room over in the Finnerty. I don't know if it actually got into the file.
We
We
did
discussed it
get
here.
a letter, I believe.
Okay. Okay.
There better be something in the file.
Yeah, I don't remember all the specifics, but
Right.
it came up before the commission.
Oh, yeah, it did come up, it was David and I in the meeting, along with,
I don't remember the
who
exact.
was the wetlands rep on this? I forget. Bucky, yeah, Bucky was there. And like I said, Doug Albertson was there, and Steve, and one of the selectmen, I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
And you also know probably at some point the Kestrel will be taking over the,
The loop trail that goes around the back.
well, no, they will hold the CR on the whole thing.
Okay, so. now-
Well, they have to, as a neutral third party, they're gonna be the ones that are gonna be, you know, supervising everything that happens, but until that happens, it still falls to us to enforce our order of conditions.
Which I did send.
Yeah. Yeah, so at some point, Kestrel's gonna sign off on it. They will accept the responsibility of monitoring and maintaining and then reporting back to us if they find issues. But I don't know the timetable for when that will happen.
Yeah, I haven't been included in any of those conversations.
No, it's still, no,
No, I mean, not even like, none of the.
because the projects aren't done yet.
Yeah, when there was some conversations about the loop trail that goes in the back.
Right. And then there's the even bigger scope of rolling in the Gingras property,
Yeah, yeah.
which might actually create a whole new set of trails coming in from State Street. But that's down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that. I heard the word didn't just.
So that frontage is out, goes right across that field where the tennis court is. You can't picture, you know, going through the S-curve, go past the courthouse, go through the curve, over on the right, you got a tennis court down in the hole. So that whole property, that's where it fronts on 202.
Right. Sounds good. Yeah, and you know, it's been interesting and delightful to get people over to Lake Wallace. I mean, it's a place that I've been bringing people since 2009, 2010 were the first trips over there. Delighted that people now recognize the name Lake Wallace. And I don't have anywhere near as many people asking, where's that? Where I would have to respond,
Yeah.
oh, the swamp behind the police station. Oh, that's what you're talking about. So that rhythm of conversation is not as common as it used to be. People are discovering it, they're enjoying it, taking care of it. I'm happy to report there's a whole lot less dog food this spring than there was last spring. So, there's
Vandalism.
we have teenagers.
I understand, but how is that? Periodically, I see reports of various things happening over there, so I'm just wondering how that's going.
As from the very first moments of construction, the more people are utilizing the area, the less vandalism is happening.
Okay,
Now, the most that we're seeing of it is up on top of the hill above the farms by the overlook. It looks like there's a bit of a spot there, gathering spot, where some trash seems to build up, among some other things. But we're not seeing tagging on the wooden posts. One of the officers from the Belchertown Police Department does, on their evening route, does a walk down past the main observation deck and onto the Foley Field. That's quite a peak, I'd say. And so that the police are a more regular presence, and like I said, just there's a lot more people who know about it, use it, and therefore that has suppressed the vandalism. I'm actually kind of impressed. I think we went all the way through the April vacation this year without anything major. And the vandalism that happened last April vacation, where the kids mule kicked out the hog panels, which is, there's still 4 of them that are unaccounted for. So if anybody's got a kayak and a magnet, we'd love to find them, be able to reuse them if we could. But the installation of the new hog panels was a slightly different construction, so that it would be less likely for the panels to get damaged and easier to fix. So we shall see. I'm sure there will be something. And you know better than I do, there is a 30-year history of teenagers in Belchertown entertaining themselves by going onto the former state school property and doing things with lots of creativity, lots of energy, and nothing better to do. So hope for less, but expect that there will be things that will happen. There is now the Wallace gift account, which is great. That we have a gift account that has been building from donations. So there's a little bit of a budget to address fixes that need to happen. Yeah. It's not huge, and it's never going to be huge. There will be a certain cost to maintain the area, and it's kind of not sustainable to expect that cost to be fully absorbed by donations. That donations are just paying for mowing. People don't get jazzed up about donating again. If it's all going to just basic maintenance or even repairing damage, we'd love at some point to get to the point where the donations would be used for things that would enhance the track and fix some of the damage that was done in the early days where the kids broke and pulled off the signs that have the rail interpretive signs. There's a few other spots. There are some benches. Has that come here? Is that something that they talked to you about installing benches on the bump outs along the trail?
If it's already in part of the trail,
Then it should be a non-issue.
Yeah, it was our
It was originally proposed, I believe.
because the bump outs are there, right?
Right.
If it's in the existing bump outs, it's probably already
Yeah.
pre-planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, I suppose the other thing that jumps out is, whenever there's a big, well, smaller trees or limbs that fall across the trail, rec department and then sometimes volunteers go out and just, slice them up, but if there's big stuff, osprey, it's called, and that's BTW takes care of.
Thank you. I really appreciate the work of the Friends Group and maintaining the trail. It's a big lift.
Thanks, appreciate that. It's delightful that it's no longer just volunteer, that I've got the rec department. And the rec department is very receptive to, and the rec committee, receptive to hearing, hearing about the experiences of those of us who've been in for years.
Got a lot of kids out there teaching the aquatic macrovertebrate class, and just a lot of these kids have never held a frog. So all the work that you've done has just opened up a whole world to a generation of kids. Thank you.
Well, I mean, the first set of kids that were the second grade field trips, I trained my ecology students and they ran the stations for the second graders. Those kids are graduating this year.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were successful in doing that a number of times. I hear the fourth grade team is looking to do a field trip next year. So we need a little bit more time to do it. It's a really delightful area. It's somehow or another, that's a particular slice that goes, it's a path that slices right into the middle of a variety of habitats. And so the diversity of life, and just the, and it's pretty astounding. Like there's so much to see in that very small area. It's tiny, but it's really, it packs quite the experience in each role. And I've had a number of people who rely on motorized wheelchairs who have said to me that they really appreciate the trail being here because even if they are in the wheelchair now, that's not where they always were. So the sensory trail makes them feel like they're able to get back into the wildlands that they used to enjoy so much back in the 40s. So that's the kind of testimony that you want for a trail like this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for all your work and thank you for coming to chat with us, to make sure we're on the same page about you.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing what you do, and doing what you do.
Thank you, I appreciate it. We'll get to chat a little more on Saturday.
Yeah.
It also comes up.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
By the way, if you haven't seen it, there's a pair of nesting ospreys down at the lake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And a pair of gray blue herons that came by on Wednesday. It's the first time I've ever seen the gray blue heron that was in the lead stretched its neck out as it did a couple of rounds, like an aggressive move at the osprey. The osprey stood their ground. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Good night.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully the back door's still open.
Yeah, hopefully both doors still open.
If they're not, they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'll check it over.
Okay, so next up, get through the rest of this pretty quick and get out of here.
No rush.
Get paid by the hour.
We're gonna do this for the first time, no matter what.
So next up, we have Earth Day.
Yeah, see all the flyers, same as last year, be in the column on Saturday, you can come get your trash bags. clean up your neighborhood or conservation area, bring the trash back. We'll be with, that's in partnership with Louise, Friends of Lake Wallace, DPW, Energy and Sustainability Committee. Hopefully some other tables to offer other information. Hopefully the scouts are doing a cannon bottle drive, there's something else, car wash
Where
or
are they going to
something
be?
else. On the common with us.
Oh, they are,
Hopefully,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So they're not gonna be done with Pride or
No.
Tractor
Yeah,
Supply.
Some
that's.
other group might be doing something here at the town hall on Saturday, but the scouts should be.
Okay. Kestrel Trail and projects updates.
Yeah, just a brief update that there is 4 or 5 projects in the works with Kestrel. You know, we just saw Holland, so go along the same lines of the New England Trail, hopefully being rerouted to the way it was. Improve some parking up there and some trail and flooding up there. Lake Wallace, they're also involved with the Lake Wallace Woods Trail. Just a brief heads up that we're gonna be seeing. Like, they all need wetlands filings, but they're also just Kestrel doing awesome work for communities.
Didn't we have one in front of us in Kestrel, I think, a couple commission meetings ago? It was something about.
Yeah, it was rerouting the one that goes down the,
Yeah.
Eversource right away.
Yeah. That's the only one that doesn't need a wetlands permit, but it is our land, so that was a heads up or a permission seeking. Yes, so just to.
And that one, I actually anticipate that's gonna go back and forth a few times.
Really?
Yeah, well, so right now, they're moving it because right now the trail's in the utility corridor where they're getting ready to do a whole bunch of, once they file for it, they're gonna do a whole bunch of, they're gonna reroute it. And then, of course, the lands next to it is the Topping Farm, which we control, and we periodically do forestry harvesting in there, and which would probably push it back. So I could see it flipping back and forth.
How often does topping get logged?
It was done probably in the last 10 years. It probably would go another 20 years before they do it again.
Oh, okay, another 20.
Oh, you know, it's 20, 30 year.
I won't care, I won't care.
This is not something that happens every 5 years. Sorry. Nope, that's fine. So next up, we have a forest cutting plan for 221 Jensen, which is probably just somebody needs to
Yeah.
peek at it and review it, make comments.
It's probably already happened. It's only 5 acres.
Is that
Acre
Ryan?
acres. It's next to when the Hyssop land in the corner of Jensen.
Oh, it's Kevin Vickers, okay. Yep, okay.
It is.
I know where it is.
It is in natural heritage with turtle habitat, but the forester made good comments already.
And it's probably within the
Well, it's only.
area of Davis,
Yeah.
which is absolutely, oh, so are they cutting anything on the banks of the Javish?
No.
Because that's a cold water fishery.
It's this lot, so I don't know how far back they're going, but it's only.
I'm going to assume this line is the Javish, I am assuming. So if they're only working out here, that's fine.
Right.
But I
don't know if
mean,
know that.
we don't want them cutting,
No.
removing all the shade off the Javish, because that is absolutely a cold water fishery.
Right, I mean, their property.
Yeah.
So I don't,
Yeah, I don't anticipate.
there is no exact.
Okay. They probably gonna cut in it. Okay, next up, we have an A&R for Turkey Hill and a right of first refusal for 221 Aldrich.
That's the ENC property like across from Great Pine.
Okay. I would say standard
Tractor
letter.
Supply, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So it'd be on the same, it would be on the east side of Route 21.
Yeah, okay. But this is the A&R?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I've looked at this. I've already got.
Yeah.
And this butts up against, this is gonna butt up against the school property and it'll like tie all that together.
Is the cemetery affected?
Yeah.
The cemetery is not, we're not cutting out the cemetery, the cemetery's up here, and you can see that, I'll send this down.
It's all right.
It won't be
And
that.
so this over here, this is the backside of Ledgewood. So
Backside of what?
Ledgewood,
Okay.
so I'm trying to give you a reference point.
So there is a roadway in the works, light industrial.
Yeah, they've got some, they want to put a road out through there and fill that up with some business, and light industrial. Up in the top left corner, next to, by Route 21 where the cemetery is. And we have a right of first refusal for Albert Street.
So this is the 23 acres that the Mission Road Path subdivision we recently approved is on.
Oh, so now they want to take it out of the
Yeah,
chapter?
now they realize they need to take it out. The map.
So how much?
23 acres.
No, how much money?
20? I think I saw 3 acres.
Well, I'm sure that we don't have the money for that. It actually would butt up against that other,
Yeah, 300,000.
that other wetland system. For 300,000 for 23 acres?
Yeah. Unless it doesn't seem like it's broken into.
Not yet. Okay, if everybody,
Yeah, but that's the only thing. It's not natural heritage, it's not by.
Yeah, right.
It is red. It's not the most, well, it's sad, but it's not the most sad.
I am not seeing the Seminole.
so that's the subdivision we just closed out here, 2 or 3 meetings back.
Oh, they're coming in on this one.
Yes.
Yeah, and,
Yes, so that's the subdivision we just closed and issued on.
okay,
A few weeks ago.
and that's this, right of first refusal?
Yeah, so currently I'm guessing it's still in chapter 61, the
Well,
61.
wouldn't it be a hoot if we?
Actually, it's probably 60, yeah, it's probably 61. Sure, that was First Street.
We're not going to, but.
So we would have like 180 days to seal the deal and pay the bill of 300,000 to buy it. So that's the alternative. So we have A, recommended the selectmen, we buy it, or B, we recommend the selectmen, they don't buy it. But we better have a funding source ready to go if we recommend they buy it.
Where are you gonna get 300 grand?
Yep.
In 180 days.
So basically, once they have an offer on the table, we have to match it, or we gotta let it go. And we just have a short window to do it in. But on the other hand, we do have 90 days from whenever that came into our possession to act on it. When we get it, if you want to think about it, we've got time, but otherwise, we probably should put it to bed now.
Ready for bed now.
Okay. This would be a recommendation. I mean, if you don't want to do anything with it tonight, we don't have to, but if we aren't serious about it, then we should probably vote on it and deal with it.
Well, is it adjacent to anything that we own or we're interested in right now?
Not really. There is a nice swamp on the parcel next to it, but it's not ours.
We don't own that either.
Well, we don't, so it would be isolated.
So, yeah, we don't own anything in proximity to it, other than maybe a couple acres from,
And this is 30 acres?
23.
23. No, my opinion is to pass on it.
Okay, so I would need a motion to that if that's what the consensus is.
You ready to spread for 300 grand?
Well, where do we get the money for that kind of thing?
Yeah, I think this whole process is flawed because what if we found that great 400 acre piece, right? There's no mechanism to support that kind of land conservation, right? So
Well, we would have to really hustle.
Well, the CPC is contributing.
I doubt they have that kind of money.
What's the operating budget on the CPC?
Well, it depends. It's different each year.
Yeah.
But we funded the South Gulf Road property that was a sizable amount. You had to get a bond for that. So but the timing doesn't work.
Yeah.
No, because town meeting is in 2 weeks. Well, over 2 weeks.
Now that we have Julie, right? I mean, now we can do some.
Oh, you asking her to donate her pay?
No, but like I think a long-term priority should be like some GIS targeted, land protection things, right? So that like when a parcel comes up, this is the one, right? This is the thing there. And so that we have a mechanism to liaise with groups like Kestrel or other land trusts.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is, the time to have dealt with this was long before we ever closed and issued an order of conditions, honestly.
Oh, yeah, but like, just thinking down one, we gotta get organized.
Well, we kind of are, but I mean, but I've heard the same thing every time this comes up. I've heard the same thing. I mean, but in fact, not that long ago, as Stephanie will tell you, we went through and inventoried all the town-owned land. And we kind of have an idea where the key parcels are that we might look at if they should ever become available.
So I think that would be good content for this committee or this group to talk
Well,
about versus just stuff that's scribbled in an envelope in a folder somewhere.
But you can actually make an agenda item and have a discussion on it for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We could.
Sure.
One of those meetings where we don't
Not
have much
this
of
meeting.
anything. No, one of those meetings, we really don't have anything else to do, but that would be a good time to do it.
No, I agree. I agree. Get a better handle on the range of parcels we do, and I don't have a good feel for that. Y'all do, was through it, but having access some of them, there's a lot of, we don't have a budget that I'm aware of.
No, but that's where grant money and everything else comes in. So, I mean, you're gonna be looking at anything that's adjacent to water resources. You're gonna be looking at anything adjacent to other public lands, next to the Quabbin, next to other lands we own. These are the things that you kind of target.
Right, and when we look at these lands, some of them are great, but some of them are covered up in invasives. We have a forestry expert here, would love to leverage your expertise to figure out what would be the biggest thing for a buck in terms of whatever our goals are for these lands. That's a bigger topic, time.
We've been kind of working on a wildlife corridor across North Belchertown.
Who's that big site, right? Like, that'd be great. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, but, we're aware of it, as properties come up that feed into that, we've been kind of working in that direction. All the project, all that land off of South Gulf actually feeds right into that.
Yeah, but your point of like identifying those parcels and then maybe we're working with our other conservation partners to
Kestrel
do that
and
stuff.
Yeah.
To reach out to those guys before the light bulb goes off. We're like, no, I'm just gonna break it up and break it off and turn it into a development. And, all of a sudden now it's $300,000 and we have no way to raise that money in 6 months or anything like that.
Well,
Okay, so do we want to vote on whether or not?
well, that's it. It's the wish, whatever your wishes are. Do we wish to hold this open, or do we just wish to, this one is not going to get any traction, go anywhere, so we just may as well.
Okay, well, I feel strongly that we should not
Okay.
accept this.
So it's not accepting, it's a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen whether or not they exercise the right of first refusal. That's all.
So you making a motion, David?
Yeah, it's just, what Ed just said was perfect.
Okay.
But I can't, but I can't make the motion.
No, I'm making the motion.
Okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes. We make a recommendation that we do not exercise the right of first refusal. So as far as I can tell, we have gone through everything on the agenda.
Amen. What about new agenda items? So, but that's
If
all-
you've got something, bring it up right now.
Let's think about that for a little while.
It's 10 o'clock. This is not by any means a record, but it is one of our later meetings. Maybe. We've been here past midnight, so.
I know.
As I pointed out, we've gone into nights where we had 12 or 14 NOIs in a single night.
You did.
Those days are long past.
Do we want to stay or?
Nobody's making a motion.
That was adjourned in the cart. Oh. Yeah, you said that.
But first you have to adjourn.
All right, make motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you on May 18th.